So anyone? Yeah, peer-to-peer. And with peer-to-peer, what I means by peer-to-peer? Okay, no third party. Peer-to-peer means that everybody can be a part of this network. Okay, and then it is what? It is centralized or decentralized? Decentralized. With decentralization, what I mean by decentralization? There is no central party who is controlling it. Okay, and then it is what? What is the third property? Ledger. And what is ledger? It's not a database, it's a record. Like if I pay you something, you record on your ledger, on your book, and if I pay you something, I also deduct the same amount from my account. Okay, so that is ledger. Okay. And what else? Distributed ledger. Yeah, that is the fifth property, which is immutability. So you already know that we are storing information in database, in our copies, in our, So the thing, what makes blockchain so special is the way that once you're storing the information, once you're storing at the cost of it, bank will charge us money and the time. All right. So that's why once we say that, and how we can make sure that what we are coding into it or what we are writing into it, we are making sure that it is being taking place as the way what we want. Okay, like this, all main protocol conditions is set upfront.
So the rewarding fees, let's say at the beginning of the Bitcoin process, was like a high value.
Exactly. It was around 21 Bitcoins or even more higher, and then after 4 years, it reduced to half, like it's reduced to 12 Bitcoins. Okay, per mining and all of these things and so forth.
But doesn't this allow 80% of the previous miners to own most of the Bitcoin in the world?
Yeah.
So it will create like a Ponzi scheme, basically, where the guys who came in before first.
Yeah, there is this point of view which is actually is avoiding the mass adoption of blockchain. Like if the miners are getting most of the chunk, so what we are getting, actually the people or the end user are only concerned about getting their work done. If I want to make P2P payments, and if my merchant or like if I need to or divide my QT, I can ask the investors to invest on that, and I can give them the shares of my company, right? So if I need to digitalize that process, that if I need to, once I need to do a crowdfunding or once I need to liquidate my assets, I'll raise an STO, which is security token offerings, in which I can assign or allocate a part of my land to that investors who will gonna pay me, and instead, once I get the money, I can give some electronic tokens to that person so that he can use either in the secondary market or he can consider as a security, like bonds. Okay, so how all of these things are possible? With blockchain.
So it's not conducted already in Saudi Arabia. There is no blockchain in Saudi Arabia.
There is no blockchain massively industry-wise like from the government, but there are different use cases that has been explored in different industries.
Because what I have heard about Bank and Sama,
when we use waterfall, which is a traditional approach. Okay, with blockchain, normally because there are so many change is happening in each cycle, so we need to do it in iterations. Okay, so that's why we use upfront agile. Then once we launch it, then we shift to the traditional waterfall approach. Okay, then it is we have to have continuous integration. Like you need to have a continuous integration mechanism. Like once you are uploading or once you are updating your OS or doing any maintenance, this is all cost which will be involved. And then for each OS updates, you need to have that also cost in your mind. Okay. Okay, so I just I'll just explain you all of these things. It's actually a checklist which we actually give to our customers if they need to evaluate or ask for a use case. Okay, so what is your blockchain product requirement? It's a new project or you have to integrate blockchain with your existing product. What type of blockchain, public or private? Does your project requires handling of financial transactions? Yes or no? So once we have a complete answer of all these points, and for the load, it's actually, the load comprises of two parts. One is a transaction load, and one is how many users you want to part, or you want them to be a part of your ecosystem. Let's say you want an admin, you want a validation. What do you think? And which is better and why? See, in-house development cost is huge, but it will give you better results in the longer run. On a longer run, okay. So normally people hire agencies who have a hold of freelancers, because freelancer, we don't know that we cannot expect good quality, or there can be delays, or there can be somebody who has to be managing them, you know. So that's why we prefer agencies to be actually controlling them and make sure that we are giving, you know, we are having the right results. Okay, these are the normal, actually this data is being compiled from the global survey, and this is per annum cost. Okay. Yeah.
Are there any agencies in Saudi?
Not now, but they are actually in Saudis. What we are having,
Software development house.
like if I am designing a P2P application, once Rosa will submit, it will be sending 500 points from it. And what value is bringing to her? Like her cost will be saved, her time will be saved. What sort of exact? So I write a small story about my persona using my application. Okay, and what sort of time that application or that user story needs to have in order to have completion. For each user stories, I set up my points. Like these points means these amount of days I need to complete this particular task. Okay. Then comes the functional requirement. Like in order to complete that user story, I need to do what exactly?
Collect more.
No. It tell me like what my user story will do. Like if I have to build a front end using JavaScript, the functionality, the functional requirements in order to complete that user requirement. Then comes what? The technical requirements. In order to do the functional requirements, I need to do what? I see what I'm doing. I'm further breaking my things. That once I have the complete task list, like I need to run this command, I need to call this function. So I'm deriving from the guiding principles all the way to the task, so that I can calculate the task or the time needed for my developers to do my work. Clear?